Kevin Warren at the podium earlier today, it's hard not to look at the opening statement and the state of the Big Ten, so to speak, and not think that he's comparing those remarks to whatever Greg Sankey said a week ago, where he says, I want to spend a few moments speaking about strength, power, boldness, and the Big Ten Conference. To me, that's in direct response to Sankey discussing nearly the exact same phrasing and wording about the SEC a week ago.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt. He's using a lot of buzzwords. It almost sounded like a presidential speech. He says we're going to be aggressive. We're a bold conference. We were founded on the idea of being bold. He didn't rule out further expansion, but he said it's going to be on our terms. We're going to be smart about it. We're going to be strategic about it. Won't rush it. And let me translate that for all of you. When he says we're not going to rush, we're going to be strategic, what he's saying is once Notre Dame, if they decide they're coming to the Big Ten, that's when all of a sudden it will be strategically the right thing to do.
And is it? By the way, I agree with you. And it seems that simple that it's Notre Dame's game to play right now. And when they decide that the NBC deal either isn't lucrative enough for them or time is up with that deal, that they're going to move. I guess the question is there anyone else left out there, either for the SEC or the Big Ten, that you see and say, oh, that's a no-brainer, they have to go get that team? Or is it just simply let's all wait on Notre Dame and see what they decide?
I think the whole world's waiting on Notre Dame. And then after that, what dominoes fall will fall. In terms of who the Big Ten might target next, that's a more difficult question, in my opinion, than who the SEC could target, because there's teams geographically in the SEC region that make a lot of sense. Outside of Notre Dame, for the Big Ten, maybe you look at North Carolina, maybe you look at UVA, both really good academic schools, great institutions, not great football powers, but they expand further into the East Coast. But until Notre Dame decides whether or not they're going to get up and dance or not at the wedding, we really aren't going to see much movement, in my opinion.
But, I mean, if the Big Ten expands with Notre Dame, they're not stopping at 17. They would get to 18. So they would go 16 to 18. There would be another team, and that's where the negotiations really start flying, because the rumor mill with Oregon and Washington, being a tandem from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten. I don't know who the outlier is that would just automatically join Notre Dame with the Big Ten without having a partner with them already. And that's where the big expansion would come, where you could see them going from 16 teams to 20 pretty much overnight or in a week.
Exactly. At that point, you're going to kick off an arms race that there's no coming back from, because let's be logical about this. The SEC is not going to allow the Big Ten to go to 20 or 22, whatever this number might be, and just sit at what they're at. Like any arms race, like a nuclear arms race, when they build missiles, you have to build missiles. You can't let them do everything. So if we get to that point, which you were just saying, where it goes to 20, 22, who knows? That's when you're going to see the house of cards really fall down. And then at that point, all bets are off. You could get Oregon, you could get Washington. Like I said, maybe you get a North Carolina. We're going to see chaos like people couldn't have ever imagined.